looking at what's happening right now on the track, the 3 wide action in turn 1 or whatever's going on. I've got to talk about that split second in time right now.
That's right.
Well, you guys, with the product that you put out, have got to look down the road. You've got to see the end of the race before it even starts.
We want to know what the fans want to see.
Right.
And we want to make sure that they see what they want to see.
Right.
But sometimes that's kind of hard because, like, things that we might want to see, they don't want to see at all. And then some things that they want to see, I'm going, does that really matter? But yes, it does.
It does. If it's from the fans' point of view, it absolutely
really
matters. Yeah, absolutely. You're
it's
right when you say
imperative that you get what they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So you try to get into their head too and think, well, what would I like to see if I was a fan, and try to make that happen. So it's a good experience for them, and it's moving, and it's exciting, and it draws their attention instead of looking at it for 2 seconds and go, I'm done with that.
Right.
But you want them to say, man, I want to see more of that. Could you guys? And the fans, I want to say to the fans that if there's something that you would like to see in the previews and in the videos that we put out, by all means,
get a hold of us at the racetrack.
Come in there and say, hey, guys, it'd be really nice if you could, in turn 3, if you could get the cars coming into 3 and coming out of 4 or down the back stretch more. We want to see the cars all hooked up and jacked up the way I like to see them.
Right, right.
And just say, hey, this would be a good idea because we don't really know everything you want to see. And if you come in and make suggestions, we will do our best to make it happen.
Absolutely we will. That's what we're all about. So you talked about excitement.
Yes.
Okay. I understand, Sandy and I both understand from the text messages and the phone calls and the stuff that was being sent to us while we were in Hawaii. Things were very exciting at Willamette Speedway while we were on vacation.
And Saturday night was even worse than Friday night.
We heard
the second night. Oh, my goodness. And Joel was in the booth.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. We had the crowd absolutely going crazy. He's on one end. I'm on one end, Joel's on the other. We're having a contest of who can be the loudest, who can't be the loudest, and who wants a T-shirt, and who doesn't want a T-shirt. And we're throwing hats and T-shirts, and he's running around just screaming back and forth, back and forth.
He's a really good hype man.
Yes, he is.
He is. Joel is kind of like if you take like a what do they call a spider monkey, and you feed it crack. He's kind of like a crack monkey.
Oh my
goodness. Did he actually say
he's
that?
High energy. He is high energy.
Yeah.
Very high energy. But that's, he's always fun to be around,
Yep.
and we appreciate everything that he has done and will do for us. He's a lot of fun to have around as well. But, again, lots and lots of compliments on what you guys did while we were.
It was fun.
I'll
It was
tell you
fun
one
to
thing.
hear.
I was at a point in the season where I needed a vacation, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I went on vacation and said, and this is the first time where I have had a crew that I'm absolutely 100% confident in. We went on vacation. We didn't talk about racing, Sandy and I, unless there was a text coming in. And there was a few of them here and there throughout, on the weekends. The weekdays, things were pretty calm. It was nice to have that just relax.
We totally left all business stuff here.
We did.
When we left.
We took
Both
a couple
of
of
us did.
We took a couple of kids with us, and we had a fantastic time.
Yep.
We got in the ocean, did some kayaking. We had about 150 dolphins swim right up to our kayaks. I mean, that was out at Captain Cook's Cove.
That was incredible.
We found this little bay that there was nobody at, and we got out there, and there was this huge sea turtle on the sand. We took some pictures and got in the water, and I'm not kidding you, there was 40 to 50 turtles in that one little bay that we were swimming with. I mean, it was just amazing to be, we don't get that here in the Pacific Northwest. You don't get to get in the ocean in the Pacific Northwest because it's so cold it hurts your bones. You get over there in the ocean, and I get in the water, and I'm there half the day. I'm not kidding you.
Oh, no,
I'm in
we
the
can't
water
get 'em
for
out.
hours at a time.
Jeez.
But it's, it's perfect
One
water.
of these days when we go over there, Ed, he's not coming back.
And there's a chance that might happen.
He's just going to get lost.
We're going to have to fly you and the equipment over there.
But we had a great time. But now that we're back, it's back to business. We had I want to talk about some of the racing because I'm a little upset, a little frustrated about something that happened while we were gone. It had nothing to do with Moxie. It's the fact that Tony Tost and Jason Papich decided to show up the one weekend that we're gone.
Yes, I was not happy about that.
We
either.
talk with those guys throughout the year. We stay in contact with them, and great people. They're a lot of fun to hang out with and talk to. They're great talents behind the wheel. And I want to talk about this because it sets up a great storyline, and it sets up what we know is going to be a fantastic show.
Baco.
These guys come all the way up from the Bakersfield area, okay, drive to Willamette Speedway, and they're taking on the hottest driver in the Pacific Northwest, Joey Tanner.
Super Joey Tanner.
That's
now,
right.
they haven't been up here in a couple of years.
Well,
it's
been a couple
right,
years.
it's
Tony
been a
Tost
few.
was here a couple of years with Matt Crafton. Papich, it's been a while. They show up. Toast wins on night number 1 on a last lap pass. Passes Joey. Joey had a right rear tire going down, and unfortunately, well, depending on what car you're in, unfortunately for Joey, he lost that race in the last lap. Fortunately, Tony Tost got the win, and the fans got a phenomenal show.
Yes, they did.
First and foremost, that's the most important thing, what the fans got to see. And
there was a battle up there.
Yes. I haven't seen any video yet, but I did hear from about 3,000 people how great it was. Night number 2.
Even better.
Papich wins the feature. Joey finished, I think it was 3rd or 4th.
I can't remember.
I think I heard.
Something. He was
Yeah,
right
it's like
there with
3rd,
him. I
yes.
mean, he was up there with him. Okay. California runs a totally different format, as most of the country does, than what Willamette Speedway does. The faster you qualify, the farther back you start. So
Joey had his work cut out.
Joey always has his work cut out
He had
because
his
Joey,
work cut
when he
out.
gets in the car, is 100% just he lets it go.
No,
there's no
110.
hold. There's no hold.
110.
111.
111. Okay.
So he lets it go. Well, typically Joey qualifies. He's very, very good at qualifying. Qualifies near the back of the pack. Has his work coming out, from the back. Has it cut out. You got to work your way through that field. That's a fast field of late models at Willamette Speedway. Okay. Night number 1, he comes from the back, finishes 2nd on a last lap pass by Toast. Night number 2, Jason Papich, unfortunately in qualifying, didn't have a couple good qualifying laps and found himself on the pole for the feature.
And he checked out.
That's part of the game.
That's it.
That's part of the game. Now, I don't know if they were watching the clocks. I don't know what lap times look like. The typical rule is if you're way out there and you start from, wherever you're at. If let's say you are the guy in the front row and you're known to be fast, and you get that 0.8 of a second faster than what you qualified, typically that's a black flag.
Well, I was listening, as Kerry was talking back and forth. I heard some chatter on the radio about, man, he's awful fast than what he was in qualifying, but nothing ever definitive came out of it. But
right.
I know it was being questioned.
Sure. And it
was
usually
being
is
questioned.
when you have somebody as fast as Jason Papich. Sandy, you've seen Jason Papich at Bakersfield a couple of times. You know how fast he is. You
One
know
of the
equipment.
fastest guys,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And you know the equipment he rolls in. That is not old equipment. That stuff is the best money can buy. Okay. Here's something I will say, because I heard a lot of people talking about Jason Papich starting on the front row and Jason Papich getting the win, and that's not right, and that fast guys up front. Okay, first of all, it's based upon qualifying times. If you qualify bad, that's where you're going to start. You qualify good, you go to the back. Okay, that's the show. Here's the other thing, and I know that Sandy will back me up on this, and anybody else that knows Jason Papich will back me up on this. There is no difference in the mindset of Jason Papich as there is Joey Tanner. It is 100% wide open. It's that killer instinct. That's what makes these guys so good. Okay. Unfortunately, that's the way it shook down, and California swept the weekend. Okay.
But
So
you got to also look at this too. In my point of view, is when you're qualifying, the track might not be as good for the first qualifiers as it is for the last qualifiers.
Absolutely.
So that's really going to have a decision on what happens and where you place.
It does.
And you might go out and get a sloppy track and not be able to set a good qualifying time,
Right.
even though you're burning up the barn door.
Right.
But you can't get that traction to get that qualifying time you really like to have.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next guy comes out, the track, 3 or 4 guys run, the next guy comes out, you
The
maybe
track's
get
dialed in.
the track starts hooking up, and they get a really good lap time. Well, they're penalized for that, and they're put to the back. But then sometimes you can't say that because Papich was up front, and he had a crappy qualifying. And it was slick. It was slick. I can say that to begin with. And then later on, it kind of come in better. So it's a double-edged sword.
It absolutely is. But those are the rules that we have to play with, everybody has the same rules.
That's right.
Everybody has the same track.
Luck of the draw.
That's how it goes down. I will tell you, though, it is unfortunate for the rest of that field to see Papich up on the front row and on a super slick track, because that's what he specializes in. I mean, he truly is one of the greats on the slick. He is fun to watch, and you're going to see that at Baco, and I'm glad we're talking about this. Now, I'm going to say something here that's probably going to upset some people, okay? I know people are going to take this wrong, and that's okay, because I'll clarify what I'm talking about. As good as Joey Tanner is, and we love Joey, we love all of our Northwest drivers, we hope that they always represent well, okay? As good as he is, for those guys to come up here and beat him at his home track, okay, this isn't a bad thing.
I know what's going to happen.
This is not a bad thing. I'll tell you why. We're getting ready to go down next month. We're less than a month away from the Budweiser Nationals at Bakersfield, California.
And Joey's going.
Joey's going. You're right. You're right, Joey's going. And
Yes,
I'm going to tell you something. I know what is coming down at the Budweiser Nationals. And those two dudes, they didn't light a fire under Joey's ass. They blew up a nuclear bomb.
Yep.
Okay, Joey right now is sitting there going, I can see him. Oh, those guys. You know, I can see what he's just, he's friends with those guys. They're on good terms. They talk trash back and forth on Facebook. People think they're serious, and then there's this rivalry that is on bad terms. Not true.
It's all camaraderie. And
Absolutely.
It's all funnier than heck. And if you guys remember, Corey, what happened last year
You can't
in
forget.
Bakersfield with Joey Tanner, it's going to be a fun time.
And Chris Frisbee says right here, Joey should have won Bakersfield last year.
He should have. He should have.
You cannot argue that. Okay. Did he win it? No. Was there an unfortunate instance with 4 laps to go? It was one of the worst I've ever seen in racing as far as the storyline. Okay. The bad part was Joey was racing for the lead with 4 laps to go for the Budweiser National Championship with Clay Daly. But here's the thing. Joey Tanner, and this is why, you know, I don't play favorites. You guys know this. I'll call it as I see it. And if you don't believe me, ask Brian Smith, okay? But Brian and I, again, we're friends.
Right.
And that's, I think, why they respect what we do, is because we're real about stuff, okay? Joey Tanner, okay, was on the track in his 111 car last year, okay? And honestly, let's be real about stuff. That car, by all means, should not have even been on the track, Ed. Sandy,
It was crazy.
you were
Yes.
there. You saw it all. That car should not have even been on the track in the condition that it was. Night number 1 at the Bud Nationals, qualifying lap number 1. Tanner goes head on into the turn 3 wall.
Oh, no.
And when I say he wrecked his car,
He demolished it.
that car, honest to God, I don't know how they got that car put back together. I don't know.
I believe we heard they stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning.
I think it was later than that, because when we were leaving the hotel, those guys were just coming in.
Yeah.
We were actually even eating breakfast the next morning on day number 2 of the Bud Nationals when those guys just came in from working on the car all night. Kai Frick, one of the other Northwest drivers that went down to Bud Nationals, blew a motor. Okay, his weekend's done on day 1. It sucks. But things happen for a reason. Tanner goes into the wall, destroys the front end, cracks the frame in a couple different spots. They stay up all night welding. They're rebuilding the front end. They had to borrow a rear end because Joey's was broke. They pulled a rear end out of the Swartz car of Kai Frick, stuck it under the X Factor. They scabbed this car together, and he nearly won the damn thing. He nearly won it had there wasn't that little bit of contact that, you know, the 111 of Tanner and the 32B of Daly got together with 4 to go into turn 1. Heartbreaker for the fans as far as the show.
It was crazy.
But those two guys coming up here and beating Joey on his home track, I know it sounds like a bad thing to say, that's not a bad thing. And I mean that by it's not a bad thing for what the fans are going to see October 12th and 13th at the Budweiser Nationals. If you guys have not been to the Budweiser Nationals in Bakersfield, California, for you guys out there listening up and down the West Coast and the Midwest, I don't care where you're at, get a ticket. Get to the Budweiser Nationals. I promise what you're going to see